Hey everybody, Brian with Easy Retriever Training, and today we're going to talk about naming your dog. This is one of the most important things you'll do when you bring a new dog home. Whether it's a puppy or a rescue, the name you're going to pick for this dog is going to be the name that it uses for the rest of its life. You're talking a 10 or 12 year commitment. And it's the name that you'll be calling out at parks, in other public places, you'll be calling out around your friends. Your children are going to be using this name. So this is really, really important. In addition to that, you can also, if you're careful in choosing the right name, you can draw on past and previous experiences. You can use humor. Really what you name your dog is going to say as much about you as it does about your dog. So let me give you, I've got 8 tips for naming your dog. Make sure you listen to the end and I'll give you some things to make sure that you avoid. Tip number 1. Think about opposites. This is kind of where you get to play on your sense of humor. So you've got a Great Dane named Tiny, or you've got a Chihuahua named Beast or Max. You've got a hyper dog like a German Shorthair, and you're going to name this dog Lazy. Or you've got a Labrador that you're going to name, Grumpy. As you think about opposites, this is a great way. You've got a white dog that you name Midnight. You've got the list of opposites goes on and on and on. And again, this is one of those places where when you name your dog with an opposite, physical characteristic or behavior trait, something like that, and you call that dog out, it's going to catch people for a minute. And they're going to be like, what? Why? And it's going to stick with them. Okay. Tip number 2. Think about sentimental names. So for example, my dog right now, I've got a 7-year-old white Labrador, and I named her Lady because that was one of the names of my grandfather's dogs that he always talked about that he had when he was younger. And towards the end of his life, he would as we would go out hunting or we'd sit around the cabin, he would tell me stories about his dogs and some of the incredible feats that they did. And Lady was just one of those dogs, and so it's kind of got, that name has a special place in our family. Other sentimental things you might consider, growing up, what were your favorite songs or cars? You might name your dog Axel if you were a Guns N' Roses fan, or maybe Sandman. You could name it Cash if you were an old country fan, and that list goes on and on. Check out our website. We've got tons of, I've got a post up there, 530 female names and 530 male names, and we'll go through a whole bunch of those ideas. But anything sentimental, maybe your favorite car growing up was a Dodge Charger, or maybe your new car now, your favorite car is a Camaro. Those are both great dog names. All right, tip number 4. Think about your favorite characters from books or movies. These all make great names. So maybe Harry or Ron, Hermione, Dumbledore. All of those are great names. If you're a Harry Potter fan, maybe your taste is more like Han or Luke or Leia. Newer Star Wars fan, maybe you want to go with Rogue. All of those are great names that'll draw you back to some of your favorite characters. Also, if you're a literary fan, especially dog books, you might Old Dan or Little Anne, Yeller. Those are great names from tearjerker books from when I was a kid, things we had to read in school. If you're a John Wayne fan, maybe you just want to call your dog Dog. If you remember what movie that's from, leave me a comment below the name of that movie plus your favorite John Wayne movie if he's one of your heroes like he is mine. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to talk about some don'ts, some things that you want to avoid in naming your dogs. So first of all, you want to keep it short. Stick for 2 syllables. There's a problem if you decide, if you're a Mary Poppins fan and you name your dog Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. In a moment of haste, you've got to spit that whole thing out versus, hey dog, come here. So keep it short. You don't want it to get really long. Another tip, make sure it's appropriate for the public. Remember, you're going to be out in the park. Your kids are going to be using this name. Other people's kids are going to be using this name. From a personal experience, you want to avoid, some of the cuss words that are not going to be as aren't going to be as well received in public places. When I was 19, 20 years old, I was in the Dominican Republic for 2 years, and there was a group of 4 of us living together. And as we were walking down the road, we came upon 4 puppies they were all females, and somebody had discarded them on the side of the road, and we decided to adopt them. So we brought them home. We cleaned out their ears. We got rid of all the ticks. We cleaned them up, got rid of the fleas, and each one of us took our own dog. We named it. Well, one of these guys named his dog what was a common slang cuss word for that part of the Dominican Republic. And one day his dog got out and he is racing down the road, yelling this dog's name over and over and over again. I don't know if the people down there didn't know if he was swearing or if they were calling the dog's name. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that it's going to be appropriate for a public place. Another tip, another thing to avoid, I would suggest avoiding names that are common in your house, people names. For example, I wouldn't name your dog the same name that you have one of your nieces, or like a brother-in-law or a sister-in-law. That might not be taken very well. And keep in mind, if you're watching this in Brazil, it's actually against the law to give a dog the name of a person. All right, and one last thing to consider, as you're picking your dog's name, you want to look for hard consonants. So like D, B, K, T, those are really hard. Duke is that's a dog's gonna be able to pick up on those hard consonants versus, F or S. Phil is gonna be more difficult for the dog to discern. So shoot for those hard consonants, dog, Duke, bow, something that really has a firm sound to it, where the dog can pick up the beginning and the end. So there you have it. There's our 8 tips. Make sure you check out our website if you want to see our posts on 530 names. Also, make sure you check out our videos. I'll put them here in the video links, where you can watch our videos, our 100 favorite male names and our 100 favorite female names. If you haven't checked out our website at Easy Retriever Training, check that out sometimes. We have all sorts of tips on how to, not only how to name your dog, but also how to raise them, how to teach them to be one of the greatest retrievers you've ever worked with. Thanks. Until next time, I'm Brian. Have a great day.